awesome. Oh my gosh, doesn't this look so great? The illustrators have taken over and the show is about to start. So all together now, let the countdown begin. Let's go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, I'm Ray, and there are not one, not two, but 3 story makers in the studio today. You will learn some drawing tricks and how pictures can tell stories without words. Teachers, remember you can pause the show as you go along or find all the shorter videos on the website. We're gonna start today's show by exercising your eyeballs. Now, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. This is Rocket from the book Look Up. Spoiler alert. Rocket loves space, and we can infer this by looking closely at the picture on the first page because Dapo the illustrator has drawn lots of clues. What can you see in the picture that makes you think that Rocket loves space? Stars on the curtains? The wallpaper? Pajamas? Toy astronaut? Rocket's star journal? The picture of the moon and the sun? Star earrings? And a cat in a spacesuit? How did you do? Did you see them all?
I did.
Oh. Well, I mean, you did write it, so I think
true.
that
There
would
is
be...
that. That is true, but I still did.
There definitely is that. Okay, well, that's amazing. Everyone, this is Dapo and Nathan.
Hello. Hey, everyone.
And they're here to talk about their book, Look Up. Can you tell us what it's about?
Yeah, sure. So Look Up is about a little girl called Rocket.
Who's completely obsessed with the stars.
Yeah, she's absolutely obsessed. She's always wearing a big orange jumpsuit. And her brother, she wants him to look up from his mobile phone because he's always looking down or he's looking down at his video games. And Rocket wants her older brother to look up to see a big meteor shower in the sky. And she's trying to get everybody in the community to come together and see it. And it's just a story about that journey, really.
Wow, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, so you wrote it and you draw?
I drew it, yep.
Amazing. And how do you guys work together? Like, how does that work?
So this was a slightly different process to the norm. As we've been informed, Nathan and I are very, very good friends.
Yeah.
And we collaborated like 100% on this book. Normally, authors and illustrators don't, but because we knew each other, we were able to really get stuck in when it came to working on the book together.
Yeah.
So like how we started, for example, Nathan gave me a description of the character.
Yeah, and my description for Rocket was real simple because I'd worked with Daps previously on other projects and I'd give him a few words and he'd come back and you just have to let him do what he's going to do.
Can you show us?
Yeah,
like,
give me an
yeah.
example.
I would love to see that.
So, you know, Rocket, one of my big things were big glasses. I want her to have really big glasses, and I know she's only little, but I would love some glasses. And you know, like, there was a lot of chat about the spacesuit, because some astronauts wear blue spacesuits.
Okay.
But Dapo and I were really, really passionate that Rocket was wearing an orange spacesuit.
So,
But why did you pick
for you,
orange?
Tip for the children, actually. I like to design characters that wear really bright colours.
Yeah.
Like, because they stand out, especially the lead character. So it was important for us, for example, for her to actually stand out above everyone else in this. So like in our book, I believe she's the only person that wears orange.
And we also said we wanted her to have a little gap in her teeth as well, because she's just super cute. And her amazing cat, which isn't actually there, but you can see it on the book, Luna.
Yes.
And Luna follows her all through the story, and obviously has to don a matching outfit because obviously that's very
Of course, they
important.
have to don a matching outfit.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not
otherwise, how
matching,
you know
what are you
it's gonna
doing?
that's
What
your
is
cat,
it?
right?
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Really, we should be all matching.
All done.
Oh, you've done it. Wow.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, can we?
Can I show you?
Yes. You did that! That is incredible! Oh my gosh, guys, do you
Yeah.
not see that? Isn't that amazing? Round of applause, please! Yes! So, Jenny from Hargreaves Primary wants to know if you can draw a portrait of anybody famous, who would it be?
Okay, I can't draw, but if I could,
If you could.
it would be Will Smith. I'm a fan, yeah.
Oh, I'm a fan of Will Smith.
Fresh
Awesome.
Prince of Bel-Air,
Awesome.
the best.
Yes.
Serena Williams. Oddly enough. Yeah. I like her face.
Yeah. And she's an incredible Don,
I think she would be really, really happy to hear that. So sometimes it can be really tricky to start a story. So do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, I do. There's a game called the Once Upon a Time game, where everybody writes down a sentence and you build a story together.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so great. Can we do that together? I think yes,
that's a great idea.
Okay, let's do that. It's very light.
She's a lot stronger than she looks.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing.
Great. And so how does this go? Do we all write?
So you write a story, starts with Once Upon a Time.
Great. So maybe not the best handwriting.
Hey, no judgment. We're good. You haven't seen my handwriting yet. And then I will add...
Yes.
A donkey called Al farted.
I think that means it's your turn.
Yeah.
Right, so let's see. And out of his rear came glitter.
Wow. Glitter farts. I wish that was a thing.
And
you know, on
rainbows.
a unicorn, that could be a thing.
Yeah,
that would be great. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is like a donkey hybrid unicorn.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, so that's amazing. I get how this works now.
Yeah.
So we have Once Upon a Time, a donkey called Al farted.
Yeah.
And out of his rear came glitter and rainbows.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Bestseller.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm so psyched to see this.
Me too.
In stores next year.
Thank you so much, guys. I wonder what our next story maker will add. But before we meet him, settle back because our next illustrator, Katherine Durst, flew all the way from Canada to bring Paul McCartney's story, Hey Granddude, to life. Here she is out in the wild drawing on windows.
Hi, my name is Katherine Durst, and I'm the illustrator for Paul McCartney's new picture book, Hey Granddude. Today, I'm actually at a bookshop in London painting a lovely Hey Granddude mural on the window. I started working on Hey Granddude when my agent connected me with the publisher, Puffin Books, and I had sent a few samples of the characters, a few drawings. The publisher sent them to Paul McCartney, who said he really liked what the characters looked like. And so he selected me for the book. Paul and I worked together on the project mostly over the phone. We also had some emails through the publisher back and forth. But we did speak over the phone about some of the ideas that he had for the book, and we discussed a lot of what he thought the characters might look like. He wanted him to be a very eccentric, older character, very fun and magical. So my favorite illustration in the book is probably this one right here of Granddude's house. Because he is sort of an eccentric character, he's got lots of little things in his house, little small details I got to add in. So there's a little accordion in the background, and there's a ship in the bottle. My favorite part about working on this book is finally being able to come to London and share the launch with all of the new readers.
Okay, everyone, so do not go drawing on the windows, but there are all sorts of things you could try with colorful cellophanes and tissue papers. Now, please, I want you to click your fingers in the classroom, all together now. Can I even do this? I can, yeah, oh, good, yay, okay. I am so excited to introduce the amazing Jamie Littler, author and illustrator behind Frostheart and 50 other books, including Hamish Secret Diaries, Witch School, Wolf, the Mighty Warrior, Famous Five, Intergalactic, Ad Mums, The Word, Wild Thing. That's a lot. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me. That was really impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, I rehearsed that a lot, so
Yeah,
I was like,
nice.
yeah, okay, good. So, can you tell us what Frostheart is about?
Yeah, sure. I'll do my best. So Frostheart is a big fantasy adventure that takes place in this frozen world known as the Snow Sea. To make matters worse, there are these huge monsters called leviathans which hide underneath the snow and ice. It's not the nicest place to live, so people are forced to live in these stronghold settlements where they have to hide from the monsters. And in one of these settlements, there's a boy called Ash who Again, he hasn't had the best of times. His parents, who are these adventurers, these explorers, they set out when he was a baby and they didn't return. No one knows what happened to them. He's now been put under the guardianship of a big, fierce Yeti warrior called Tobu. So Ash's life at the moment is a bit rough, you know.
Okay.
But there's a rescue attempt that happens. The Leviathan monsters attack a massive engine-powered sleigh which is coming towards their stronghold. It's discovered in this rescue attempt that Ash has special powers. Ash ends up heading off with the crew of this sleigh. The sleigh is called the Frostheart, the title.
I mean, I think they had to come in eventually.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was just like, where does the title come in?
You got to fit the title in somewhere. And so he sets off on a big adventure into this dangerous world with this crew of adventurers, hoping to find out the secret of his power and where his parents went, what happened to his parents.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. See, now I just want to go so I can read the book.
Well, thanks.
Okay, so you write and illustrate?
I do, yeah. Well, I mean, I've always got sketchbooks on the go. Like, this is all just stuff like where I try and get rid of ideas in my head. Like my head is always like buzzing with like ideas and concepts and characters and stuff. So I just try and get them out of there and put them on the page.
So these are so amazing, and they kind of obviously look like you have inspiration from anime, comics.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, when I was a teenager, I got really into comics, big time on anime and manga, and also animation in general. I've always loved animation. For a long time, I wanted to be an animator. Before I realised that it was storytelling, my own stories that I really wanted to tell as well.
So in terms of all this animation and comics, like how does that work with Frostheart? How do the characters look?
When I started Frostheart, I was writing down the manuscript, the text and the book, and whilst doing that, I was figuring out characters and things. So yeah, I just try and work out all these different characters, who they are, their personalities, how they might hold themselves, you know, like...
oh my gosh, that is incredible.
Well, the main character, well, like Tobu is the Yeti guardian, and he's meant to be big and fierce, so I knew he would be quite muscular and strong-looking, whereas in comparison, Ash, the main character, he's meant to be almost the opposite. He's meant to be very shy and quiet. So I wanted him to look quite thin, and he's got his shoulders slumped, and he's almost the opposite to Tobu, you know. And I wanted that kind of contrast. I knew straight away. And I kind of go around all the characters designing them this way. So because Ash is an outcast in his clan, I wanted the rest of them to look big and strong as well, so that he really kind of stood out as lonely and different.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to explain all of that. That's amazing.
My pleasure.
Cool. Well, we're going to get back to you in a bit.
Great.
And in the meantime, guys, do you love comics? Because I do. Diary of a Wimpy Kid illustrator Jeff Kinney is going to beam in right now with his cartooning tips.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeff Kinney, the author of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, and today I'm going to be talking to you about bringing your characters to life. I loved cartoons and comics as a kid. I especially loved Peanuts, Calvin and Hobbes, and Big Nate. And what I really learned from drawing as a middle schooler for the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books is that cartooning is all about simplicity. In fact, I try to use as few lines as possible when I'm doing the illustrations for my books. I'll give you a demonstration of how changing just a few lines can really change the way the characters look. So I'll start by drawing Greg Heffley's head. And now I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm going to copy this 4 times. So I wanted to show you how easy it is to change the way that Greg looks like he's feeling. So first of all, I'll start with a frown. You might notice that Greg is frowning on almost all of the covers of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. So here, we'll make him happy. And here I'm going to go with an open mouth look. So this is an open mouth look. And we'll return to it in a second. And here also, I'll draw an open mouth look. So now we've got 4 expressions, but I'm going to add to this. So here, Greg has his mouth open, you can see his tongue, and here we're going to see Greg's gritted teeth. So you can see with just a few lines, I've really changed Greg's expressions. Now, to add to this, right here we look at this picture of Greg and we say, Greg is sad. You know, he looks sad. But if I add this one line right here, a tongue, I think you would say that Greg is concentrating. And maybe I'll add a little line under his eye. And now Greg looks like he's really concentrating, but he's also a little bit tired. Here, if I add a tongue to this smiley face, now I think we would say that Greg is actually hungry. So a totally different expression by just adding a tongue. And here Greg looks like his mouth is open. We're not really sure what he's doing, so I'm gonna add 3 lines here. And now I think Greg is talking. If I add an angry line right here, I think Greg is shouting. And down here, I'm not sure what this expression is exactly, so I'm going to add big eyes, big eyeballs. And then big pupils. And I think here, Greg looks like he's scared. So if I draw these lines right here, now that really sells it. Now you really know that Greg is scared. So you can see, you just add a few lines to these characters or subtract a few lines and the character looks really, really different. My tip for becoming an illustrator is to copy the drawings of your favorite illustrators. When you copy someone else's style, it helps you to figure out how they did what they did. And that helps give you tools to develop your own style. I hope that one day you'll be successful as an artist and will be sharing space on the bookshelves.
Thanks, Jeff. And you can catch Greg Heffley in his latest adventure in Wrecking Ball. So, Jamie, I noticed that you have a few mythical creatures.
I do, yeah. They're like a pretty big part of the story. They're these Leviathan monsters. You can see some of them are quite big. Here's a person for scale.
Okay,
So
yeah.
This guy, the Gargant, is pretty big, and they all have special abilities. So the Gargant, the biggest one, he's got a really loud roar that can cause avalanches and crack ice. And
Oh my god.
Whereas the Hurtler, as the name might suggest, it runs really fast across the snow. Hence why it's almost just a massive chicken leg, almost you see, with a mouth, you know, but you don't want to be caught by this big chicken.
No.
It's
Definitely.
quite a nasty thing to be caught by. And then you have the lurkers, which again, as the name suggests, this is the one that really likes to hide under the snow, and it waits. If you go above the snow above it, it can leap out and grab you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I just tried to make the monsters, even though they're related with the 6 eyes and the crests and the spikes and face shape, I wanted them all to have quite unique characteristics and feel quite individual.
Can you share some of your drawing secrets? Because they all look so great, and I wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah, well, let me show you how I would do a drawing.
Amazing.
So I draw a lot on both paper and digital, but I like to draw digitally because it lets you correct mistakes easily. Sometimes, have you ever done it where you've done a drawing and everything's working really well, and then you find you've drawn a character a bit too small or a bit too big, but the rest of the drawing's all there, so there's no way you can change it. Whereas digitally, you can just cut it out and shrink it or make it bigger. And so I like that. It gives me that freedom. But yeah, so whenever I start a character, I always try and think about movement and energy.
Okay.
So I might need you to help me out. I might need you to pull a dramatic pose that we could draw a character in.
Okay.
Oh wow, so it's like a kind of combat-ready pose. Okay, so if you
Am I gonna stay like this for an hour?
Yeah.
I'm not prepared for that. 2 hours.
Yeah. You got strong arms, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's okay. I think I'll remember. Okay. We'll do this. So I always start with trying to figure out where parts of the body will be, and I tend to use shapes to figure things out. But I draw in quite a cartoony style anyway, so I've got kind of used to simplifying things as well. So whenever you're doing lots of movement and stuff, you want to think about where the line of movement's coming. So I think here, we can see that this is that kind of line of movement. You know, that's where all the energy's coming. Right. And then you want to think where the pose is being held. So all that tension's going into this leg, you know, so you've got that strong structure and stuff. So that's our first rough. So I'll start doing some details now. So we've got the eyes that are looking forward and concentrated. Eyebrows that mean business, I think, you know,
I mean, those are great. Those are great eyebrows.
Yeah, but even when I'm doing these bits, I tend to try and keep it rough. It's only until I get to the finals where I start to go in quite carefully and things. But even then, I try and keep the line quite wibbly and rough, just to try and retain some of that energy. I find sketches have a lot of excitement to them because the illustration's new and you're ready to go, and you know, it's exciting. So you see, it's all done with like simple shapes, you know, like trying to split the body up so the body's almost like this curved rectangle or something. Do you mind if I saw the hand again, like the way your hands were? Great. So I always use reference for my drawings as well, you know, so like hands are really hard to draw, so whenever I have to draw a hand, I always try and get some reference. We'll give her some like kind of martial arts trousers because they're baggy and easier to draw.
Okay. So she looks ready to beat up a few people.
Yeah, hopefully. Again, it's all movement. Like you could easily have someone standing quite rigid and straight, or even if they're combat, just have their fists up. But I like to try and push the design, you know, like, so try and push the sense of action, the pose.
Jamie, that was amazing.
Thank you very much, thanks.
I can't believe you did that so quickly.
Yeah, it didn't take 2 hours at all.
No, it didn't. Well, thank goodness, because you know, this is a little tiring.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I do have one more thing for you though.
Oh yeah?
Okay, earlier, we had Dapo and Nathan with us, and basically we were playing a Once Upon a Time game.
Right.
And I was hoping you could add to our story.
Oh man, yeah. I'll see what I can do.
Great!
Oh, this looks like an exciting story.
It is an exciting story. It would be better when you add to it.
Wow, okay, so I think I might do...
Good use of the word erupt.
Thank you.
Yes?
You're wondering where that was going.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I
His
think...
friends erupted with applause. I mean, it cannot get any better than that.
Where's the story going to go?
I know. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. We are going to head to another winter wonderland now, the North Pole, home of polar bears, penguins, and a very special dinosaur. Get your pens and paper ready because a Jurassically awesome draw-along is about to begin.
Hi everyone, Tom Fletcher here. The illustrations in the Christmasaurus and the Winter Witch are by a man called Shane Devries, a very talented illustrator who I'd never actually met until after he'd done all the drawings for the Christmasaurus, because he lives all the way in Australia. And interestingly, he was inspired when he was drawing the Christmasaurus by this funny looking guinea pig.
As Tom said, I really was inspired by a guinea pig when we designed the Christmasaurus together. I'm Shane Devries. I work in animation and film, and we went through lots of different ideas, and eventually we came up with the dinosaur that we have now, with lots of spiky icicles and his cool mane. And today I'll show you how to draw him. We're going to draw him from the side, so his head starts with a circle. So very lightly, as light as you can, just sort of draw in a nice round circle, and that's going to be his head. And because we're drawing him from the side, we'll draw his snout, and it sort of comes off to the side like that. The bridge of his nose, his little guinea pig face goes like that. And then we'll draw very lightly his neck, which is a bit, it's an S shape, so it'll go, well, a backwards S shape, so it goes like this. And his body sits down here somewhere. So there's the basic shape, and then his icicles will go up here. So the Christmasaurus's eye is just here, at the very top of the circle, just where the circle meets his nose. So we're going to draw his eye in here. And we'll draw his eyelash, and then the bottom of his eye, and then in there we'll draw his pupil. There we go, he's looking right at us. And then his eyebrow sits above, and it has some little scaly bits that make him look quite fancy. And his little snout sits here, and he has 3 big icicles on the back of his head, and they sort of curve around the top. So we'll draw the first one, like that, which has a point. And the second one is flat. And the third one is also pointy. Like that. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll give him a cheeky smile. So he, like that, and then it kinks up. So he has 1, 2 little grooves in his mouth. There we go, that looks pretty cool. Now he has a couple of little scales underneath his chin. And then he has icicles that sort of follow a line down there along the middle of your circle. So I think he has 6 of those. So 1, 2, and they get longer as he comes along his face. 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then just here he has 2 more chunky icicles. So number 1 looks something like that. And 2. And now we're going to draw in his icicle mane. So he has all these icicles that sort of a bit like a line come out from his head. So they all go like this. You don't have to be too neat, it's more about putting them in so that he looks very icicle-y. I don't think that's a word. And then we'll just quickly add some shape lines to here and a couple of small icicles along his head. And then he's got, I think, 4 kind of big icicles that sit out the back of his neck. So there's 1, 2, and then these ones change direction, 3, and 4. And then we can draw in his hand. So if we put his hand here, it's like a little circle. And then his arm flows under like that. And then we'll give him some nice sharp claws. How's yours looking? And lastly, we'll give him those little scales that go on his elbow. They make him look very fancy. And just a couple of big icicles here. And that's our Christmasaurus. So how's your dinosaur looking? Is he looking cool yet? You could make him look even extra Christmassy if you added some snowflakes to his scales. I'm Shane Devries. The Christmasaurus and the Winter Witch is out now. Have a Merry Christmas.
Never seen a guinea pig look like that. A big shout out to Primary 4 at Bonus Public Primary School in Falkirk, who are reading the Christmasaurus as their class book and loving it. You can find that video on the Puffin School's website. I am back with Dapo and Nathan, and you're about to witness author versus illustrator in the ultimate doodling duel.
Yes, here we go. I've got this.
Dapo,
I've got this.
Nathan.
You don't stand a chance.
Do you know what you're drawing today?
No. What are we
No,
drawing today?
no, what are we drawing today?
You will be drawing a puffin.
Ooh, my
Yes.
favorite. Right.
Good. And whoever draws it the quickest wins.
Okay, that'll be me.
Yeah? Guys, who do you think's gonna win?
Nathan! Nathan!
It's obvious, it's obvious.
Nathan!
Okay, well,
All right.
you're ready?
I'm born ready.
Born ready? On your marks, get set, go!
Right, Dapo, how you getting on, yeah? Is everything good, yeah? Oh, wow. Wow, look at this.
What are you even...
What? Oh my goodness, I'm just an author, I'm an illustrator. Come on, that's not real.
And the winner is... Dapo! Woo!
She didn't say what size.
Okay, you know, that's a fair point. You're
That
right.
is-
I didn't say, I mean, that
It was whoever could draw it the quickest.
Okay, that was really close though, because he was almost done.
I just had to do the belly.
Penguin.
I'm sorry, what does yours look like?
A puffin! Come on! Come on!
Okay, I just want to know how quickly you think you can draw a puffin. We're at the end of our show today, so thank you so much to Dapo, Nathan, and Jamie for joining us here in the studio. The next time you see an illustration in a book, just take a moment to think about what else the author might be trying to say without words. We'll be back next year for a very special World Book Day show. From everyone here in the studio, thanks for watching!
Bye!